Meryl Streep, good morning.
Hi.
Oh, by the way, I'm not in the interview in the end at all, so my behaviour is sometimes kind of strange. Well, he's going... Anyway, so I exclude myself. They exclude me. So, why did you become an actress?
Why did I become an actress? Probably because my friends told me that I did it very well in college. That's when I first was in a play. And I knew I liked it, but I really never thought I could make a living at it. And I thought it was sort of a silly thing to be. So even when I was in graduate school studying acting, I registered for the law boards, which is the test you take to go to law school, because I just thought it was kind of a silly way to spend your life as an actor.
So when did you start taking it seriously?
I slept through the law board's test, and I realized that I was sort of, I'd been in a play the night before, and I loved it. And I just thought, well, why not do what you love, even if you can't make a living? And at the time I began, when I graduated from acting school, there were 16 theaters that were shut down on Broadway. It was the beginning, it was in the 70s, it was in the last recession. And it was not a very good time to be beginning and have student loans and everything to pay off. But everything kind of fell into place, and I don't know why, but I think it's just good fortune.
Now you said once that at Yale, for the 3 years you were at Yale, you had 3 different drama teachers.
Yeah.
Do you think it's actually possible to teach acting?
People have asked me to teach acting, and I've never said yes because I wouldn't even know how to begin to conduct a class. I really wouldn't. I think it is possible to put challenges in front of students that bring acting out of them. But if they don't have the talent in them and a sort of an innate understanding of how to embody other people, I don't think you can teach it if they don't have that.
I've heard you're very reluctant about discussing your, inverted commas, technique, whatever that is, for fear of breaking the spell, so to speak. But would you say you have to fall in love with a character in order to play that character?
You don't have to. I'm not sure that falling in love with a character is the way to talk about what needs to happen, but there has to be some recognition when you first read the material that occurs at a level that's not from the neck up, a sort of a concord within your soul, something, a deep recognition of something you understand about this character that feels like you on some level, even if it's perfectly horrible. It's just, you recognize yourself somewhere. And then that carries you in the great action of acting, which is belief. You're just trying to convince people you are who you say you are.
Have you ever felt you failed completely?
Yes, I felt I completely failed in a film called Still of the Night, which was right after I'd shot Kramer versus Kramer with Robert Benton. He was the director, and he's a wonderful director. And I felt like it was a film that was noir, which is not a genre that I have an affinity for, because I was asked really just to be mysterious and beautiful. And the more that I realized that was the job, the more I felt like I couldn't do it.
Between 1977 and 1979, you appeared in Julia, The Deer Hunter, Manhattan, and Kramer vs. Kramer, which you did win the Oscar. Did you at some point in the middle of all that think, well, actually this is working out, I'm going to do decent projects with decent people?
Mm-hmm. Well, your question is whether I felt in the 70s, when I made a lot of films in a row with great directors. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was represented by a legendary agent, Sam Cohn, who also represented Woody Allen, Robert Benton. William Styron was a friend of his. Pakula was one of his clients. So Mike Nichols was his client. The extraordinary string of interesting material that came my way was because Sam mentored me and put me in those films put me together with those directors and writers.
What do you normally want from a director?
What do I want from a director? Clarity and certainty. Even when they don't know what they are not sure what they want, just to convey that, to convey that they're not certain what it is that they want, but to convey that clearly. It's so important to feel that you can rest what you do as an actor, which is unravel, that it's going to all be in a safe kind of basket, and that it'll be put together confidently by someone.
Did you get that feeling from Woody Allen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I got, yes.
That's a question, is that really? Because he's legendary as being Mr. Oblique.
Well, but I knew he knew what he wanted. I knew he knew his story. He wrote it. He was very clear about what he wanted. He said to me, "Could you just say the line the way it's written?" And I thought, whoops. Because, you kind of accommodate sometimes lines to the way you feel a character would say it.
You also obviously have played with Niro, Nicholson and Hoffman in points of their career where they were pretty much at the top of their game. Were you in any way intimidated getting the opportunity to work with them? Or do you have to stand your ground? Or is there an image of strong personalities more myth?
No, really, really good actors are always a joy to work with. I mean, the great ones are just there to listen to you and to surprise you. And those fellows, you're speaking of De Niro and Jack Nicholson and Dustin Hoffman. Back when I worked with them, they were amazingly alive. And that's all you want. It's just, because it doesn't matter how much you get ready off the set, how prepared you are. It just all happens in the moment, right there, in front of the camera, or it doesn't. And they always bring it.
I'm looking at the clock, listening to them. Listening to you,
okay.
Going,
I understand. You're like my husband. I'm talking, and he's like,
No. Actually, sometimes people ask me, is everything I just said to you okay? And I go, I have no idea. I'll see the tape later. I'm sure it will.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. How important, excuse the nature of the question, how important to you was Sophie's Choice?
Sophie's Choice was a completely wonderful experience to make. And it's only after I finished it that, and people said, "Oh, that must have been so hard." And I was going, "No, it was really fun." That I realized I was sort of shattering some, the impact of that the film had on people. Because it was thoroughly joyous experience to work with those two actors and to work with Alan Pakula. I mean, it really is true that he came to our dressing room. We all got made up in the same room. So Peter McNichol was here, and I was here. Kevin Kline was there. And Pakula appeared in the mirror behind us, and I looked at him, and he had tears running down his face, and I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "We're halfway done." And it just made me, I loved him so much, and he loved the process of making that film as much as his actors did. So, I mean, it was a great experience.
I remember the time of The River Wild, you said how proud you were of your physical achievements, and that you trained to row, and there was a shot in the film looking from above, I think it is early in the morning, maybe at the beginning, and you're rowing down the river, and you had in fact trained very hard, and you were, oh, okay, I look good, allegedly. So how important is the process of making the film, and the experience of making the film, collaboration, versus the actual end product itself?
Well, the end product is the most important thing, what the film is like, how it turns out, whether it's, supported its aims, whether it's successful artistically and in every way, whether people want to see it, whether it speaks to them. All those things are important. And yet, the process of making the film is what I go through, so it's important to me. And The River Wild was important to me to do for a couple of reasons. One, that I had 3 little girls, and it was important to me that they see, because girls don't see often women who are physically strong, daring, physically powerful on screen. So I thought this is an opportunity to put something out into the world that expresses that. And but making it was thrilling, and I didn't know it would be that much of a challenge, and that much so beautiful to live outdoors, which we did for about 5 months. We were just outdoors all the time.
Why did you agree to do Bridges of Madison County?
Because the script was really good. I knew I was in good hands with Clint because he's such a great director. But when he called me about it, I told him I wasn't interested because I didn't like the book that it came from. And he said, well, read the script. And the script was by Richard LaGravenese, who's a great screenwriter. And he made it into something more three-dimensional and authentic. It felt like a dilemma a real woman would have, which the book was more of a romance.
In Bridges, you were Francesca, who was Italian, and Sophie, you were Polish. In Out of Africa, you were Danish. The question about the voice work is, have you ever been, has the discussion of the voice work and all the questions you get about the voice, how do you do it? I mean, at the time of Out of Africa, I might say, oh, you did this amazing Danish accent. Is that for you a distraction from the film itself?
Sometimes I think that when people ask about the accent, it's, first off, it's sort of lazy journalism. Dare I say it? It's like the easiest thing to ask about because it's like the thing on the surface. And yet, for people looking at my work, it's a fact that I've chosen to play women who come from different countries than I do. And I've chosen to not have them speak as if they were brought up in New Jersey, like I am. And that's just a choice because I've felt like them, so why can't I be like them? I have felt what they felt. And ideally what I'm doing in my work is making you feel what these Danish, Polish, Jewish women feel. And it's an act of, I'm a conduit for that empathy. So you, as a man, you understand what this woman's going through. To me, the overlay of what an accent is just, it's a color in a painting. And what happens is when you pick out just the green, it's just the green. That's all it is in a great big piece of work.
I've always wanted to ask you, actually, have you never ever worried that when you finally, at which point do you realise the accent can work? that you're not going to trash the whole film by doing the wrong accent.
I never think I'm going to be wrong. It just, I think that's the thing of belief. You know, it's the when I watch my children play, the little ones, it never occurs to them that they're not actually who they think they are. When my son would be this, you know, I don't know what it was. Like, no, he had a big iron vest and Skeletor in, I don't know what this was, like a, you know, a very scary kind of robot character. He didn't think he wasn't Skeletor. When he came at me and went, ah! He thought he was really scary. He didn't doubt himself. So my relationship to acting is like it always was, even when I was a kid. I think I am who I say I am. So.
Were you surprised at the success of Devil Wears Prada and Mamma Mia?
No, not at all. Because I wasn't surprised by the success of Devil Wears Prada or Mamma Mia, because I felt the people that were surprised, frankly, were the fellas, you know. These were best-selling entities on their own in other media already. Women had demonstrated their love for these things already. So there was, someone already had the key to the door. And if we just applied a good shove, you know, if we, as filmmakers, made it well enough and strong enough, it was going to, we already had the key. The door was going to open. And they were surprised. But I think that's people being surprised by what is called women's stuff, you know. It just doesn't interest men sometimes. And so they can't imagine that it would be successful.
Proving them wrong twice. You've been doing this for 40 odd years now. Sorry to mention that, but what have you learned?
What have I learned in my career? How little I know. And so probably that makes me less afraid and more in awe of the thing itself, of the opportunity. I feel like I've gotten so many opportunities to play so many interesting women. And I just feel like I'm just beginning to understand how to get in, how to do it. Each one is different. Each one presents a different set of problems and opportunities. And I still love doing it, so.
I was going to say, do you still love doing it? Anything that you would like to do that you're dying to do and you haven't yet done?
You know, when people ask me if there's anything that I haven't done that I would like to do, I don't even know how to begin to answer it, because there's a million things I haven't done. There's a million different women's stories, millions and millions and millions, and who knows what's out there. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of stuff I haven't done. I did it on purpose. Yeah. Come on.
I know. Okay. Meryl Streep.
Thank you very much.